Hi, this is Tom Jacobs from tdjacobs.com and also healingsuicide.com. And I'm an evolutionary astrologer and a channel and an energy worker. This is the third in a series of videos on the COVID-19 collective situation that we're all experiencing on Earth. Video one had some thoughts. It's about 24 minutes long. Some thoughts like about from the transition from the Piscean age to the Aquarian age and how dealing with fear and different kinds of things. And then video two was about 28 minutes of me channeling Hermes, also known as Ascended Master Djehuty, Thoth, Saint Germain, Merlin, that being who was a helper who hangs around to teach us things. It's the mercurial Hermes, right? The mercurial figure in all cultures. And essentially, I just have a connection with this being, and I've been channeling this being for quite a while. So there's some bird's eye view stuff in there too that you might find helpful. Those are kind of long. This I expect to be much shorter. But what I want to focus on for a moment, in the spirit of helping you understand more about what such a collective situation can do to or for or within individuals, and then what I, as a spiritual teacher, as a healer type person, might suggest to work with these shifts in more conscious ways. And one of the things I mentioned, and then Djehuty mentioned, so in each of those videos, this is mentioned briefly. Every human is consciousness with different layers of awareness, right? Your conscious self, your unconscious, subconscious, whatever. And you have etheric bodies, your energetic bodies, mental body, emotional body, whatever, physical body. And as a human, you are consciousness that exists across time. And in certain layers of your consciousness, we would call it the unconscious layers or the unconscious, you possess memories from many, many lifetimes, millions of lifetimes. Some people wonder, they say something like, I've been told by a reader, this is my 8th life, and I'm just eager to get off this wheel of suffering. And some other people say, like, I heard we live 108 lives and whatever. There are 1,000 lives. There's like some number that some, people get in their heads. From the channeling that I've done, because we are all in this manifestation experiment, consciousness evolution experiment together, that it actually turns out there are a great many more lives, because the soul needs many, many lifetimes with different variables and experiences and beliefs and therefore choices to learn about what it means to be human. It doesn't need to learn 2 things. It needs to learn a bunch of things from a million different angles, each billion different angles, each whatever. So anyway, so there are lots of lifetimes, and some of these memories are stored in your unconscious. Because we're talking about, like, consciousness is about energy, you are at times activated. Certain layers of your awareness or little bubbles are pulled to the surface, or you can think of it as like SQL or database searches, queries in a data structure that you didn't know were happening. But like let's say that let's say that this is a funny image. Let's say that buried deep in the data tables are you can't trust men with beards because in some lifetime somebody with a beard went out of his way to harm you, right? In some other lifetime, some past lifetime. So that memory attached to that belief might be in there. And so as you're wandering the world, it's almost like as you look out at the world, when you see a man with a beard, somehow it might be as if somebody was like, dear Google, like typing something into a search field and then results to return. So you might have part of you activated around a man with a beard or men with beards. I use this joke a lot. I pick on somebody in the audience when I'm teaching. Recently, it was women who wear blue hoodies. A long time ago, there was a guy at a workshop, and it was men who wear black shirts. So just that idea of like something, right, can trigger something for you to come to the surface. Your nature is, this might seem really abstract, just bear with me. Your nature, and it is abstract, but in a certain way. But I want to give you a chance to key into some kind of bird's eye view perspectives so that as you live your 3D life and you make the choices you need to make, You also understand the bigger picture from the standpoint of human evolution or the evolution of consciousness, which is what all souls embody here to experience. Even when things are painful, the souls are learning, right? Even when things are tragic, the soul is learning, even when things are hard and difficult. So something in you might get triggered. Well, the nature of your consciousness, the nature of the energetic source of you behind your personality is the loving nature of soul, the all compassionate, all knowing, all loving nature of goddess, God itself, all that is, divine source, whatever, creator consciousness. So your soul is a portion of creator consciousness, and it is vibrating love. So it wonders, what is it like to not know that I am the source of love? So I'm going to go live all these human lives and experience, right, pain, fear, tragedy, loss, heartache, guilt, despair, anger, whatever. Feeling unloved or feeling not safe, not supported. So in all those layers in your unconscious are memories from millions of lifetimes of things that are unresolved. Because they have not gone through you have not gone through the process of taking the fear, pain, despair, anger, whatever, not feeling loved, not feeling supported, or feeling not loved, not supported, and bringing love to those parts of you, bringing light to those, shadow experiences, or those, something like the shadow, but those parts of you that have been denied love for whatever reason through different kinds of experiences. So in the context of, in the first video, I talked about what people call 2012, the end of the Mayan long count calendar. I think Djehuty talked about that in video number 2 as well. Because it's not in the natural order of things, it's not in the nature of your consciousness to hold on to the negative things. It's actually good for you. It's important for each of us, say it that way, that the knots, blocks, and bruises, the bubbles of unhappy memories and painful experiences wrapped around beliefs, that those come to the surface. If you have a script buried deep in a data table, or an entry in a data table in your unconscious that says, can't trust men with beards, you're going to notice men with beards everywhere. If it's, I don't know, anything, tall women, I don't know, short children, I don't know, whatever it is, if there's an entry in a data table, well, that hurts, or that's terrible, I don't know how to deal with that, for millions of lifetimes, well, you'll vibrate it to you in a certain way. That's normal for your whole life, but that's accelerated since late 2011 at the end of the Mayan long count calendar. Listen to video number 1 in the series to hear the explanation about why I don't say it's the winter solstice of 2012. So throughout your life, it is normal that things get brought up for resolution, meaning an old pain, an old fear, whatever. Well, since the end of the Mayan long count calendar, as I described briefly in this other video, you are having the most important unprocessed emotional things for many lifetimes come up. So here we are in this, that's what's happening right now, it's early 2020. So as of the last, 8.5-ish years. The thing that came up sometimes and then kind of ducked under the surface, you can't ignore it anymore. It must be dealt with. The pain, heartache, despair, whatever. This is one of the reasons why I created a site called healingsuicide.com, because some of these parts that may come up who have really, frankly, horrible experiences in some lifetimes, they may not have any hope, and you might believe that's who you are. And so I created that site to explain to you different things about soul and its multi-life journey, and how your life fits into your soul's journey and your soul's plan, and how your soul understands your life as a chapter of its experience, and how to deal, frankly, with some of the most painful kinds of emotions that we have that might lead us to the despair that says that suicide might be an option. Because, the reason that I created the site was to give you some perspectives so you can cease believing those parts of you that don't have hope, or that feel, that something is so horrible that you can't deal with it. That's not who you are. But it feels because those emotions of those parts of you are filling you, it of course feels like it's who you are. What I really want to get to is kind of a corner of this topic, which is um, changes in society that you remember from a bunch of different lifetimes. That any of us may have entered in data tables, like, I don't know. If they restrict me to my house, then something terrible is going to happen, right? The memory of restriction or grocery store shelves being emptied or people being sick or lots of people getting sick and dying, like those memories from many lifetimes are now for many, many people kind of trying to come to the surface. Now, in different ways, we're all affected, some of us more than others. I don't really mean to be coarse about this, and I certainly don't mean to be heartless about it, because I'm not. But from a detached perspective, most of us don't know people who are sick right now. Here in the US, as of today, I don't know, 6,500 people or something have been tested positive. And as tests roll out, we'll get more numbers. That number will go up. Most of us don't know people who have passed away, right? Or who have loved ones who have passed away. So part of this whole story is also eventually, I'm not fear mongering, but I want you to understand the bigger picture and what's happening here. If it happens that a much more noticeable number of people pass away, we're all dealing with collective grief, as well as the fear of what might happen next, as well as, right, these memories from many lifetimes of group tragedies or family tragedies or personal tragedies may be coming up in various people right now, but it could be slow, which is why I'm putting this video up in case you happen to cross it. Perhaps it can help you kind of monitor what's going on in your body and your emotions and your thoughts. There are people who are saying that all this stuff is overblown, and that's fine, but why not take precautions when there are people getting sick and passing away? And so maybe it's not going to be terrible. Let's hope it's not. I mean, let's hope it's not, but let's live as if we need not to be coughing on each other at restaurants or whatever. So anyway, so if you don't know how I work, I never attempt to make anyone afraid of anything, right? But as I say this stuff, it might seem like I'm trying to, right, get ahead of the curve a little and introduce some fear. I don't find fear mongering, or I don't find it sexy or sensational. So it's not in my heart or in my spirit, or it's not one of my core mission value statements or something to do that. But I just want to say to you that even if you are not directly affected by somebody getting sick and passing away, your grief from some other random lifetime or a number of lifetimes may come up. And it's really important that you are prepared to pay attention to your feelings and your emotions while not believing they are who you are. So, I'm somebody who lives quite often with an awareness of other life memories where things are going terribly wrong. And it's frankly, through the work that I do, it has helped, the work that I do has helped me, bring something positive to the world, in order for, to reveal tools or to develop strategies and protocols to work with things. Essentially, I got into doing astrology because I needed to know how not to be depressed and feel despair and angry at life. I remember a lot of grief scenarios from other lifetimes, like they're on the surface all the time for me. And I'm just sitting here, I was talking to Djehuty last night and this morning and today, and just really being aware of how, of course, we're hoping for the best. I just want you to be able to have a better sense of how to deal with those emotions that may be coming up. Now, if it were to come up, it might come up as a feeling. It might come up as a sneaking suspicion where you're like, wait a minute, what's happening? As if you can feel the energy of somebody coming up from the basement, right, up to the main floor. Like you kind of feel something's there and you're not sure what it is. That's quite often how other life emotions can creep to the surface. It's not always some quick rush it is sometimes this lingering, nagging thing you can't quite put your finger on, or seems kind of outside your peripheral vision, no matter, where you turn your head. So I just want you to get grounded and centered and monitor yourself and really pay attention to what thoughts, beliefs, and emotions are happening within you. Like, let's say, given the human tendency to believe that we are our emotions, realize that karma I define as beliefs wrapped around emotions. So when a feeling comes up, when an energetic wave is in play in you, and you're feeling something, it's very instructive to listen, to give voice to and listen to what that part is saying. It's helpful so that you can get a sense of what belief is attached to what feelings. Now, how that looks is you might just hear part of you say, I was actually having it this week just with like whatever. If you're into astrology, and you follow my work, you might know I have Pluto in the 12th house, and I'm quite often working to heal memories of everything's pointless, why bother, that kind of thing. And that was coming up over the last week, as the last 4.5 decades too. But anyway, I was thinking about it this week and really watching that part of me. And I'm saying this to myself now as I say it to you, noticing that energy that my thought like had gone down, that path my mind had gone down, right? If you can listen and not believe it, it's very helpful, because then you don't get swept away or, slip off the path that you're working with. So anyway, so I want to suggest the grounding meditation on my website. It's a free download, 13 minutes. And it's a process in several steps. Once you know the process, you memorize it. You don't have to have the MP3, but some people do rely on it as a consistent thing. And sending cords into the earth, putting your attention in your body, clearing out your body, opening your heart, moving energy. It can be really helpful for recentering. I do have a bunch of programmed crystals, including programmed tiger iron, which is great for grounding and pulling energy to the lower 3 chakras, which can help us manage anxiety. But I just want to encourage you to pay attention to your feelings and not believe them, and have some kind of practice where you're getting rid of the energies in the world and other people and stuff that doesn't belong to you, and that you're focusing on what it is like to be in your body, in your heart, not escaping, Okay. I think that's it for this. Well, you know what, I want to say one other thing. Okay. Since I have you here, sometimes when these other life things come up, think about these millions and millions of lifetimes. Well, in every lifetime, there isn't something overwhelming. But the overwhelming things are what most need to be dealt with. So they may be the things that are kind of, so to speak, competing to rise to the surface. Like the antsy, unhappy people in the basement are like, no, I have to get up there first. The most painful thing wants to come to the surface first, because, again, it's not in your nature as a soul, as consciousness that exists across time and is based in love and compassion, soul. It's not in your nature to retain knots, blocks, bruises, pain, etc., the not loving vibrations. So what I want you to do is to prepare yourself, just in case this might happen for you, or if it happens in somebody you care about. This thing that happens where we don't want to let something come up because we're afraid it might be huge. In some lifetimes, a pain, a despair, an upset, a guilt, a shame, an anger might be fantastically huge. And you may not know that yet, meaning you've been minding your own business for years on earth, living your life, being your name, your preferences, and whatever your relationships and career. But just be aware that some parts of you carry something that may carry something that's huge that you might not feel prepared to deal with. This is why I talk about the grounding process, so we can center and stabilize in our field and be more present to make the decisions we need to. But very importantly, so that we can be less knocked off course when something big does come up. Meaning, if you get grounded on a regular basis and you have a sense of the baseline, and then you realize, oh yeah, this thing comes up, and oh yeah, that's not me, but I feel that, yeah, I can listen to that. and not believe it's me, well, then when something bigger comes up, you're more practiced. This thing with, COVID-19 is going to go on for months, maybe, who knows, maybe till the end of the 2020, maybe a little longer. There could be waves of it. A lot of people could get sick. We don't know yet, like how these containment efforts and social distancing and all that stuff. And as testing ramps up, we'll have a much, over the next few weeks, we'll have a much better sense of like what's actually happening and where we are. And that's why all these measures that are put in place about social distancing or whatever, some people in lockdown in different parts of the world, we know they're temporary, right? There's typically a time guidance, a time frame, but we don't know what the full scope will be. And I want you to be centered and grounded, or at least understand how to, so you have the option, so you can be less thrown if other people become very afraid. Let's say you're like, you know what, I have faith that things don't have to be so tragic, whatever. But if other people start to freak out a little, realize we are all in this together, but I don't have to absorb everyone's energy. That was the first thing I said in the first video, is we're all in this together. We are. We are all the same. Like the list of countries who have cases and deaths, like it's all these different countries all around the world. There's no, ethnic or religious or hemispheric, um, factor that pulls some people into the circle and some people out, pushes some people out of the circle. We're all in this together. So even as we're socially distanced and exploring the hermit archetype in some ways, or deep diving into reconnecting with our families, right? These are healing opportunities and growth opportunities too. If we live with them and we're all like, cooped up together or something. But I just want you to have a better sense of how to deal with the emotional stuff and the energetic stuff that happens with other people, because we are connected, but you don't have to be overwhelmed by the energies that others have or experience. So thanks for your time and energy. I hope these videos are helpful. As I think about different topics, I will perhaps do short updates here. I'm also going to do, you can see on my work Facebook page, it's called Evolutionary Astrology and Channeling with Tom Jacobs. Like if you friend me through Facebook, you won't know this, but on my work page, I'm going to do a series of Facebook Live meditations, and I'm going to see if I can put them up on YouTube. I know there's a way to do it, and see if I can get my brain to process those directions. 20-minute meditations channeling the Ascended Master, maybe with some energy work, maybe not. We'll see how I'm doing and how I'm feeling. But definitely centering, grounding, clearing meditations. And the first one will be Thursday the 19th of March, and then 2 on the 21st. I'm going to add more dates this weekend for the next few weeks, and maybe do 2 or 3 a week. If I do it every day, I'll get exhausted, because like I said, I think this will go on for 6, 8, 10 months. This will go on for a while. But anyway, a little bit of extra support that you can, use to center and ground, even as people, this news story gets, it unfolds more and more, and people we all may have different kinds of fears. So anyway, you can check out my work page again, Evolutionary Astrology and Channeling with Tom Jacobs, for those. Check out the events on that page and you'll see that. All right, take care of yourself, and you can see what I'm up to at tdjacobs.com. Bye-bye.